Hey, 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 it's AAA Wednesday, which stands for Ask Alyssa Anything. And this is my weekly Q&A session where I'm responding to questions you've left in the comments about the publishing industry and how to write a better book. It's a small way for me to say thank you to my amazing community of wonderful subscribers. And if you're new here and haven't yet joined us, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you don't know me, I'm a professional book editor, and every week, in addition to these Q&A sessions, I also publish deep dives into the book publishing industry and offer tactical tips for improving your manuscript, especially if you're working on a novel. I would love to have you join us. One more piece of housekeeping before we dive in today. Please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. It's just a really quick and easy thing that helps out my channel a ton, so I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We have some great questions today, so let's dive in. Can you use self-published books as comp titles? In general, I wouldn't advise to use self-published books for your comp titles, with the exception of certain self-published books that are very, very well known and were best-selling in their own right. Otherwise, I would stick to traditionally published books. You want your comp titles to have a certain amount of sales, typically a few thousand reviews or more on Amazon or Goodreads, to indicate to the literary agent that there are stories like yours out on the market that have sold very successfully. That's really the point with comp titles, to show that there is reader appetite for your type of book. If there's a self-published book that sold very well and is a very strong comp, I would say you could use that one, but I would still use 1 to 2 traditionally published books in addition to the self-published one. Because remember, when you're reaching out to a literary agent, you are hoping to get published by a traditional publisher rather than self-publish, so it would make sense to use books that have also gone through that publishing process. Before we get into the next question, I wanted to let you know about a free resource I created specifically for my YouTube community. It's called my Story Self-Assessment Worksheet, and it's a simple quiz designed to help you see your manuscript in a new light. And if you're stuck, help you identify ways that you could improve your draft on the next iteration. Downloading that is going to sign you up for my exclusive newsletter, where I publish exclusive interviews with publishing industry insiders and successfully published authors. I'm getting amazing feedback from you all on how much you're enjoying and valuing the newsletter, so I'm really excited to continue growing that, and I don't want you to miss out on all of that amazing content. If you want to go straight to the newsletter, its name is Chapter Break, and the link is in the description as well. Here's another question. I see that a lot of publishers have adopted a prohibition of using works created with the use of AI. I completely agree with such policies. When I read a short story or novel, I want a work created by a human being, not a robot. With that being said, if an author uses a program like Grammarly solely to check grammar and spelling, would that violate a no AI rule? Your views of the intersection of AI and publishing are pretty much what a lot of literary agents and publishing professionals are expressing as well. They're not interested in works that have been composed using AI, and especially works that have been totally created by AI with no human component. This is an area to watch going forward. I've done a series of videos on AI and publishing. It is such a weird landscape right now, and we'll see how it continues to evolve and what stances publishing houses take on if AI to any degree is acceptable to use when creating your book, or if your book has to be completely only generated by your own mind, and if so, how are they going to enforce that? There are so many questions on the table about it. That said, the use of Grammarly to check spelling and grammar, as you mentioned, is not considered using AI. That's really just a spell check tool similar to what any word processing software, including Microsoft Office's Word, includes. So that is all completely fine to use from the perspective of the publishing industry. That wouldn't be considered using AI to help generate your story. Here's the next question. Should I query a literary agent or an agency? Why I'm asking is because I don't know how to personalize my query for an agent, and I'm thinking of querying an agency. Typically, you will direct your query to one specific agent at the agency. The only exception to this would be if you are querying an agent who is the only worker at that agency. There are some agents that just have their own agency and they're the only ones who work there. In that case, it'd be totally fine to address your query to the agency overall, though you might as well just use their name like you do all the others. And all your other queries should specify the agent that you are targeting at that agency. The reason being is that at an agency, every agent specializes in different types of books, different genres. So you want to make sure that your query is landing at the right desk. The agency isn't going to go through your query and then forward it to whichever agent they think is best. They're just not going to do that work. So you need to identify for yourself which agent is best suited for your project and then query them directly. As for personalization, I do recommend including a personalization line if you can for your query. This could just be you mentioning that you enjoy an author's work on that agent's list, or that your book shares similar elements that the agent is asking for in their most updated manuscript wish list. It just shows you've done a little bit of research on that agent and that you understand the types of books that they represent. That said, if you can't find that information online, or you just don't want to do the work of diving into that agent's profile, then you don't have to include a personalization. You can just leave that off. But I would definitely recommend directing your query to a specific agent versus the general agency. We have time for one more question today. I'm not familiar with X etiquette. Is it acceptable to follow all the literary agents I am querying? What about tagging them in posts about my book? So if you haven't heard, Twitter has been rebranded to X. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Twitter here. And many industry professionals are on Twitter and maintain pretty active Twitter profiles, including literary agents. Following any of the agents you are querying on Twitter can be a great way to learn more about them, keep track of when they are open and closed to submissions, hear about their latest manuscript wish list, hear about their client works. All of this helps you keep a tab on the agents and agencies that you're interested in. So I definitely recommend doing that. That said, I don't recommend tagging agents or DMing them with information about your book on the Twitter/X platform. Any type of communication in which you are trying to pitch a literary agent really should be directed to their query inbox, unless they have specifically asked you to send that information via Twitter. So if you want to query that agent, I recommend going through their standard process, which will be listed on their agency website. That said, if you want to interact with a literary agent on Twitter, such as replying to something they posted or answering a question that they posted or answering a poll, I just wouldn't necessarily pitch them the book via a tweet or DM unless they're asking for it. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions today. And if you have something you'd like to ask, drop it in the comments here and it will be added to my queue for my next session. Before you head out, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button to help out my channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And don't forget your free story self-assessment worksheet and my newsletter link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching and happy writing.